So the elephant in the room is the death of top of funnel content. Today on Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast, we're going to take a look at just that and how with AI now answering queries that once drove our top of funnel strategies, brands have got to pivot. And today we're going to explore why middle and bottom of funnel content is more than just the new focus. It is a survival strategy. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast. My name is Andrew Rusnak. I am the founder of Charlotte Content Marketing. And in this podcast, we take a look at content marketing, obviously, but we also explore digital marketing as a whole and take a look at trending topics and news and tips and all that fun stuff. You get some opinion thrown in there sometimes. Maybe it's not the best opinion in the world, but it is an opinion. So what I want to talk about today is top of funnel content. And top of funnel content, if you don't know, top of funnel content. So in a marketing funnel, when it comes to content marketing, you have top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom funnel. And if you know anything about marketing funnels, this is how you attract prospective buyers with a wide net, and then you walk them through the buyer journey over time using various forms of content, and you start focusing in the message, and people will naturally fall away. People who were not qualified leads or people who were not going to buy in the first place, they will naturally fall away over time. But what you're doing is you're concentrating your efforts to speak to the potential customers, the customers who have real potential to convert and also become long-term customers. So the traditional marketing funnel has been used for decades, really. And when it comes to digital marketing and content marketing specifically, top of funnel content was always sort of the broad, generic content. And this was content like how-to guides or answering questions, like basic questions about a topic in an industry, like, you know, why is my faucet leaking if you were in the plumbing space, or how do I plant azalea bushes if you're in the landscaping industry. So things like that. That's top of funnel content. And so that kind of casts that broad, wide net, but we're not speaking directly to people who are like absolutely like qualified, certain that they're going to be making a purchase from a plumbing company or a landscaping company or whatever. So that broad content gets people in the funnel, and then over time you walk them through towards more streamlined, focused content. And so top of funnel content has been a stalwart within digital marketing and content marketing for many years now. And there's always been big competition for trying to rank for certain generic keywords, because that's what top of funnel content really is. It's more generic instead of, once again, it's not like focused. It's not specific or specified. And so all that was going good for a while, and then Google came out with their featured snippets. And featured snippets are like when you search for something like how to change a tire, and it'll pop up with the first answer is like a big bold set of text, and it has like a blue highlight over like a short little answer. And so getting the featured snippet was always a good thing. That kind of became the next hurdle in content marketing, was you wanted to be recognized as the best answer for that question and get that featured snippet, because people were more likely to click through on that featured snippet if they wanted to learn more, and you were right there at the top, featured prominently. Then everything changed when artificial intelligence, AI, ChatGPT, all this stuff came about, and now And Google has instituted their own AI, this AI overviews, which is sort of like a featured snippet, but just more in-depth and detailed. And the source material that it's pulling from is a little bit more hidden. There are still links to the source, but they're not displayed as prominently. It's kind of off on a sidebar and stuff like that. Whereas the answer that Google gives is more prominently featured. Well, so the problem is people are searching for those kinds of things, how to change a tire. They're searching for that through ChatGPT and other Claude and other AI platforms out there. And then Google is also, with their AI overviews, they're taking a chunk of the pie, right? And it's bad enough that so many of these questions have already been answered. I mean, the market for this kind of stuff was already so super saturated and competition was so stiff. I mean, if you search for something like how to change a tire or, reasons for a leaky faucet, you're going to find a million websites out there that are going to tell you an answer, and they're all going to pretty much have the same answer. So competition was already stiff, and featured snippets were already becoming zero-click searches, meaning basically somebody gets the answer to their query without having to click through to your website. So that was already a challenge. And now when you throw AI into the mix, there's no reason for anybody to click on a link to go to your site when they get the answer from, the AI response right then and there. So what all of this means, and this is what we are recommending, is to take the focus off of top of funnel content. So when we're talking about anything on your website, when we're talking about anything that is searchable, just go ahead and leave that off. Now, I say that with one caveat. If you are a new business and we are setting up your website for the first time. So Charlotte Content Marketing, we do website design and development. And if we're putting together a website for you for the first time, we've got to write out all the content. We're probably going to recommend some of that top of funnel content on the site in a resource center, in FAQs or in blog posts, things like that, to lay a foundation to help search engines and AI better understand what the site is all about. However, we're doing that with the intention of training search engines. We are not doing that with the intention of getting traffic to the site. So it's sort of a necessary evil at this point to get those pieces of content set up, whether again in the form of like 6 months worth of blog posts or something to lay that foundation, or a resource center on your website where you have articles about things in your industry that answer generic questions or give answers to generic questions. But we are not doing that with the express purpose of attracting traffic. This is solely just to train search engines and AI to tell them what the site is about. And we're including keywords, semantic keywords, and also entities in there. Entities are basically like proper nouns for things. Or I shouldn't say proper nouns, but nouns that are associated with your business, your location, your industry, your services, or your products, and then related topics to those. So you can kind of picture this like a web, and your business is at the middle. And everything that makes up your business, from your starting date to your location to the types of products or services you offer to awards you've won, to any of those things are entities, and we want to connect all of those entities in the training data that all of these large language models, AI, are sucking up across the web. And we want to get that, we want to create that association with your site. And then we take a search everywhere optimization approach, which is where we're going beyond just the basics of traditional SEO, which is search engine optimization. All right, we're talking about search everywhere optimization. That's our SEO. And what we're talking about doing is getting mentions across the web in as many relevant and hopefully prominent places as possible, with those entities connecting back to your site. Whether we get that backlink or not The backlinks are still important, links pointing back to your site, but mentions surrounding the entities that I was just talking about, that's going to be important because again, we're now in the phase where we are training the search engines. We are in the phase where we are training the AI, and we're teaching the AI what it is that your business is and what it is your business is about and why your business should be brought up in search results, whether in a traditional search engine like Google or in a large language model like ChatGPT. We're explaining why your business needs to be brought up as an answer to a relevant query. So instead of top of funnel content, because that's the easy stuff, right? I mean, how to change a tire, how to fix a leaky faucet, all that kind of stuff. We can write a page and we can explain that. But what are we going to replace that with? Is there a need for content anymore? There absolutely is. And in fact, I would argue you need more content now than ever before. And what you're looking for is content that can't be generated by AI. And that's where authentic content comes into play. Now, this is more getting into the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel type stuff. And so instead of, how-to content, you want to create how-we content. So what you're wanting to do is explain how your business achieves something, what your business does, not in terms of we manufacture widgets, in terms of we solve this problem for the customer. We solve this problem for our community or for our industry. And in doing that, so things like case studies. Case studies are an excellent example of bottom of funnel content. Usually in the past, bottom of funnel content like case studies would be used if somebody has gotten through the top of funnel, middle funnel content, and they're like, okay, I'm still on board. I'm still interested. I'm at the decision stage where do I want to buy from this company or do I want to do business with this company? Something like a case study further cements your place in their hierarchy of choices, right? So the case study would be like, okay, well, I like the products, I like the offer, and I'm thinking like I'm right there on the cusp of making this purchase. And now I'm reading a case study that goes into detail about how this product or service or brand solved the problem that I have and what their result was. And then in turn, that's the result we want them to expect, that they're going to get a similar result. Also, any kind of documents that you can create about insights that you can give about your industry or customer problems and how you solve those are also types of content that are usually reserved for middle of funnel or bottom of funnel. And those are the things that we want to concentrate on because those are the things that AI cannot replicate. So then the question becomes, should you be using AI to generate content that it can create, which again is that top of funnel, generic, general, answering questions kinds of content? Should you be using AI to do that? You can. I don't know. I mean, there's still a risk of running into duplicate content issues, and Google or Bing or other traditional search engines may devalue your content if it's too close to content that's already been put out there. But again, you're going to just end up wasting your time because so much of that content is already out there. And if you're getting AI to generate it for you now, you and everybody else who's thinking like you is doing the exact same thing. And it may not be some competitor in your local area or in your region, but I guarantee you, again, if you run a plumbing company, right, there's going to be a plumber somewhere in the country that's said, hey, I'm going to get AI to write this stuff for me. How do I fix a leaky faucet? And they're going to put out some blog post or something or an article on their site about that, and they've gotten AI to write it. Well, I have bad news for you. No matter which one of these large language models you choose, they're all going to spit out pretty much the same thing because their training data is the data that's already out there. They're not going to come up with new and innovative ways to fix a leaky faucet because they don't think, they don't know, they don't reason. It's a predictive text matching platform. It's not thinking. And so all it's going to do is take its training data, which is based off of everything that everybody's ever written on how to fix a leaky faucet. And it's going to generate basically the same thing. So your content is going to be the same generic content that's already out there on the web and that your competitor who's using AI is putting out as well. So it's really just a waste of time. I mean, you can do it, but I mean, even the 5 seconds it takes to generate and the minute that it takes to post, it's still a waste of your time. Instead, what I would recommend is write down a list of what are the unique ways that your brand solves problems for customers or for your industry. What are some things that you approach? What are some ways that you approach problem solving differently than everybody else? And then look at that list and think about what are some ways that you can then take each one of those items and flesh that out. Now you can still use AI to write this stuff if you really want to. I don't think that it's going to do as good of a job as a professional writer, but then again, I'm in the content marketing industry, and so that's just where my brain goes. But if you're going to do that, then I would recommend write out in your words the concept that you're trying to get across. So with that list in hand and at least a couple paragraphs written out about the concept that you want to get across and explaining why, because prompting does matter, you may be able to get something usable out of it. Unfortunately, again, the AI stuff only has to go off of what you have given it. It's not going to know anything about a case study. It's not going to know anything about your product pages. It's not going to know anything about the history of your company. It's not going to know anything about your community involvement. It's not going to know anything about, again, as a plumber, that one time you showed up to the lady's house and, you solved some dilemma, a toilet overflowing at 2:00 in the morning, and you saved the day, and she was so thankful. And those kinds of stories, your AI isn't going to be able to come up with that. It's not going to be able to share that. Only you can share that. And I recommend sharing that in your own words, or at least working with an agency that's going to be able to put that in words that match your brand voice according to the style guide that's written out, so that everything is consistent. But AI is just not going to be able to replicate that personal experience. And so why is this helpful? Why do we even care? Well, again, we're training AI. We're giving that information to AI and search engines. But then also we're again, going back to this search everywhere optimization approach, we're wanting to get the word out. We're brand building at this point. Even if you have an established brand, we want to continue to build the brand and not just rely on the fact that, well, we've been number one on Google for the past decade. Why do we need to do anything different now? It's because people are increasingly turning away from Google and traditional search engines, and they're looking in different places, video sharing sites, YouTube or Rumble, TikTok, Facebook. People are searching, they're using those as search engines now. So you want to have content on those sites, and you want to develop content for those sites specifically. Now, a lot of times you can repurpose things, but many times you can't. Or you can repurpose it, but it needs a lot of adjusting or reformatting in order to fit in that space. But those are the ways that we want to get people back to the site. And then once they're on the site, that's when we can hit them with the product pages. That's where we can hit them with the personal stories. That's where we can hit them with the case studies and testimonials and things like that. And speaking of social media and video sharing sites and podcasts and things like that, again, this is where you have a real chance to shine, because at least so far, AI hasn't touched those spaces too much. And so video content, on social media, image content, and I'm not talking about AI generated images. Don't go down that path. They look pretty bad even now, and I know there's some photorealistic looking stuff. It still looks like AI generated stuff. I mean, the term AI slop was not created for nothing. People recognize it. Your customers recognize it. They know when you're using AI for this stuff. And in my personal opinion and my professional opinion, I think it's a bad idea. I think it looks bad. I think it can hurt your reputation over time. And once again, I have a vested interest in continuing to provide content marketing services. So I know you're going to be like, well, of course you would say that. No, I'm just telling you that from someone who's been in marketing since 2010. It's a bad idea because it gives a bad taste in the mouth of customers. And when your competitor is putting out original work and original images and original video, and they're writing things out in their own words and things like that, and here you are pumping out AI slop because it's faster and cheaper, who do you think is going to win out? You think your generic content is going to win out? You think your AI generated images with people with 6 fingers and 3 legs and stuff, you think that's going to win out? Or do you think the content that someone actually took the time to plan out and work into a larger strategy, and it was professionally produced and it's polished and it works with the strategy, or do you think that's going to work? Because my money is on the polished professional stuff any day over the AI pump this out in 2 seconds stuff. If you want to take your chances with it, be my guest, but I'm just giving you my opinion. I told you at the beginning, you're going to get opinions. Well, this is my opinion personally and professionally. I don't think it's a good idea to try to develop bottom of funnel content using AI. You can only fake it so much before it falls apart, and you will have wasted time. And once again, I don't care if we're talking about 1 minute and 5 seconds. That's 1 minute and 5 seconds you could have been doing something else. But again, so the top of funnel stuff is pretty much over. We're not recommending that unless it's a new business and you don't have that foundational evergreen type content there. And even then, it's not as important, because what we're looking at is what are some ways that we can create that more in-depth content, that more personal content, and still fulfill the mission of training search engines and large language models about our clients, instead of wasting the time to put out the evergreen top of funnel, how to, why does this XYZ happen? That kind of content, it's a waste of time. So I would discourage you from going after it, and instead focus your efforts on real, in-depth, meaningful, personable content that meshes with your branding, that incorporates your branding, your brand voice, your images, your colors, everything that is about your brand, your business. Make sure that your content focuses on all of those factors, every piece of content. No piece of content should be filler content at this point. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you got something out of this that you can take and apply to your business. If you want to get in touch with Charlotte Content Marketing, you can give us a call at 704-323-6762, or you can visit us online at charlottecontentmarketing.com. We have a contact form on the website if you'd like to reach out to us there, or you can email us at hello@charlottecontentmarketing.com. And we're also on socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. So we would love to connect with you on there. But thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you next time on the Charlotte Content Marketing Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcasting platform to stay up to date on all of the latest episodes, and I'll catch you next time.